In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my recipe and process for making an Astral Love oil and balm or salve ointment, and I'm going to be going into the herbs and the essential oils that I am using, how to craft this and what it can be used for in your practice. So if this topic of astral travel, flying ointments, hedge crossing, love and sex magic is of interest to you, then do get yourself a nice hot drink, settle back, relax and enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I hope that you're well and safe and looking after yourselves. I feel like now is a really beautiful time to be creating this video because Venus is exalted in Pisces at the moment, and I am literally filming this just a couple of days ahead of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, and it's just a really beautiful, potent time for sort of higher consciousness and elevation, downloads, expansive kind of growth and opportunities for healing, greater compassion on the planet, and this beautiful unconditional love energy and vibration. And I think a lot of people who are kind of in touch with spirit and energetic frequencies are feeling the shift and have felt the shift, and it's just a really beautiful time. Of course, it does come with its challenges as well, because there's a tendency to kind of gloss over things or see things with rose-colored glasses, or kind of fall prey to illusions or delusions, or be hoodwinked in some way, or even to be prone to sort of escapism, hedonistic kind of activities, or potentially indulging too much in substances such as alcohol or drugs, etc. So there are like pitfalls with it as well, but it's a really beautiful energy, and I think it's just a lovely time to talk about this. So I'm wearing my amber and gold necklace and feeling very much in the kind of like love vibes right now. And if you've been watching my channel, if you follow me on Instagram, you might know that I've been doing a lot of work around sex magic and love magic, self-love magic, healing and love magic within relationships. Obviously like consensual kind of love magic. I'm not talking about messing with anybody's free will. Of course, I'm coming at this from my perspective, my practice, my craft, whilst I know what my morals and ethics are within my witchcraft practice, and you know, that's what I am going by. I'm not here to tell you what you have to do or virtue signal. This is just the way that I am working. I've very much been using love magic and sex magic for healing, self-love, as well as creating a blissful kind of environment and experiences for my husband and myself, and been delving deeper into Tantra and tantric breathwork and experiences like that together. So it's been like a really nice journey, and it's going to be ongoing. And I am no expert in Tantra, and I don't claim to be an expert in sex magic or anything like that either, but it's something that I'm exploring and reading a lot about, and at the end of the video I will share with you some resources as well if you're interested in learning more. Also, if you watch my channel, you will know that I'm very much into herbcraft. I work a lot with herbs in my practice. I grow some of my own. I moved into a house about 6 months ago, which is a brand new build, so we don't have a lot in the garden itself. I have some plants in pots, but a lot of my herbs are dried, and I use them in kitchen witchery as well as in spells, candle spells, in oils, in spell bags and pouches and spell jars, etc. I do love to use herbs in my practice. It's a big part of my practice and who I am, and I've been exploring creating oils for years. When I was growing up, I discovered witchcraft when I was 11, and I was very interested in it throughout my teens, and my mum also studied aromatherapy, and so I was very interested in essential oils and blending that. So I've been working on creating oils for quite a long time. I know how to use them safely. That's really important. I'm not going to go too much into that because that would make the video really long, but it's really important to do your research if you're going to be working with essential oils. And I love creating my own beauty products, and I've created my own facial toner before, my own moisturizers and my own facial wash and things like that before. And so yeah, it's a really lovely thing that I love to do, and sort of goes into glamour magic as well. But this year was the first year I've ever made a salve, and so the first salve I made, I shared that process. It was a Mullein Salve for anxiety, as peace, calm, and it was lovely. I still have some of that, but the only thing is I didn't use enough beeswax, so it didn't harden quite so well. And so I still am going to be experimenting more with beeswax salves, but this salve actually includes coconut oil, and the reason for it is not just that it is kind of a salve in itself when it solidifies. That is a lovely extra because you know, it kind of solidifies as long as you know your temperature. You're not in a really, really hot place. If you're in a very hot country, that wouldn't work so well. So if you experiment with salves, you might wish to do a recipe like this with beeswax instead. It might work better for you. But the reason that I chose to use coconut oil was because the specific kind of oil I wanted to make was a kind of Astral Love oil. So kind of pairing the two, because I love making flying oils in my practice, and I was thinking I wanted to make a flying salve, but then at the same time I wanted to do something for love magic, something that could be used in the intimate areas of the body. And I've done quite a lot of research around this, and obviously I would never advocate that anyone puts anything inside of any parts of their bodies. However, on the outside it's very safe to use, and obviously a skin test is really, really important if you've never used anything like this, and some people can be allergic to certain essential oils or certain herbs, so it's really, really important that you do your due diligence and do your research and find out if there are any herbs with any contraindications, any medication you're taking, etc. Always consult your doctor first if this is something that's new to you. So those disclaimers are really, really important to say as well. This is like an Astral Love or Sex balm oil salve that I created and imbued a lot of loving intention into, self-loving, and me giving myself that love and that pleasure and that adoration, but also being able to use it in receptivity with a partner and then also in the astral. So it's something that I've been experimenting with, and my partner is not a witch or a pagan or anything like that, but he understands everything I'm doing and he knows what I'm doing and he's okay with it all. So that's just really important as well if you are practicing any kind of sex magic. This isn't the only kind of sex magic you can do either. I mean, I would love to make a video about specifically sex magic and love magic down the line, but at the moment this is just a video sharing this process of making this salve. So I didn't want to create too much because I still have quite a lot of my Mullein Salve, so I ended up creating just enough that fills these 3 pots, and I like them that they're sort of different sizes. So this was one that previously had a flying ointment that I picked up from a creator on Etsy who I have shared on this channel before, and they are something like Full Moon Cat or Cat Full Moon or something like that. I will post it. It's a creator in the UK and really, really beautiful ointment. It was lovely to use. So I reused this, and then I had these already from the Mullein. This was from a salve that I had, or a body lotion or something that I kept, and I love this one specifically because it's larger, but also because it's amber, so it's sort of better in terms of sunlight. But then these as well, they're not just see-through glass, but if you are going to use like a glass jar, it's better to use like amber. So I wanted to use herbs that were both going to be appropriate for the body, and also that we're going to have all of those intentions that I wanted to imbue into the salve. So the ingredients that I used for this salve were dried hibiscus flowers, dried jasmine flowers, dried lavender flowers, dried rose flowers, dried damiana, and dried mugwort. First I made an infusion, so I decided to do a fast infusion, which is over the heat, which is how I made my Mullein oil as well. So if you want to check that video out and see how I did that as well, you can. It gives you more context and ideas about how you could do it if you haven't done it yourself. So it's important that the oil doesn't overheat with the herbs, because you don't want them to sort of be stripped of any of their scent or healing properties, as well as the magical properties. So because creating this salve was of course a very magical process, I went through the steps of cleansing the items and imbuing all the items with my magical intent, and really spent time with each herb, talking to the herb, breathing my energy into the herb, holding the herbs in my hands and sending energy from my center through my body, through my hands. And that is a practice that a lot of people don't really talk about, and actually that's basic energy work that is really important, and I would love to make a video about that again as well at some point. But there are other videos that you can find. There are books as well that go into depth about energy work, and it's really important that you understand that, because I think sometimes a lot of people think you can just shove herbs in a jar and then call it a spell, and there is obviously that collective energy behind the herb, and the herb kind of knows what to do in itself, but it's even more powerful and even more personalized if you can literally imbue your intention into each herb, spend time with it, connecting with that plant spirit energy, and imbue it with your own energy and your own intention, and talk to it, tell it how you want it to behave, and tell it what you are manifesting and what your intention is. And you can even say it in the present tense as well, so to affirm that it's actually already here, it's already yours. So you might say something like, I am beautiful, I am abundant, I am blessed, I am sensual, I am sexual, I am sexually empowered, I give myself pleasure, I experience pleasure on all planes of existence. And then you can talk about the astral side of it as well. I mean, and also if you wanted to just make an astral salve and just use herbs that correspond with that, or just make a love salve or a sex salve as well, again, that's fine. Like, you can use these ideas and create what you want, and that's the beauty of salve making and oil making. Also, you can make an infused oil and not turn it into a salve as well, like if you wanted to. So it's really, really lovely to infuse your oil, but first things first, just spend time with those herbs and imbue your magical intent into them. You also want to do this with the oil as well, and that might be a little bit harder because you can't necessarily hold it in your hands, but you can blow your intention into it, you can talk to it, you can hold the jar or the bottle, whatever it is in, and imbue it in that way as well. So if you wanted to, you could use something like sweet almond oil or jojoba oil and use beeswax with it, which is slightly more complicated. And if you wanted to see how I did that with my Mullein Salve, you can look at that video, although as I said, I didn't add enough beeswax, but I did add how much I would add next time. So as I said, I am no expert in this area, because this is my first year making salves. Even though I've made a lot of long infused oils in my experience, I'm quite new to salves. So this is, you know, experimental and fun. Spend time imbuing your intention and your energy into the oil as well. And then what you want to do is have it in a jar, and you want to create a double boiler. I have a copper pot that I use for this purpose, for infusions, and set it over like a lower medium heat. And you want to keep the temperature at about 40 degrees centigrade, no higher, because you don't want to overheat the herbs. And so you want to put your jar into the pot of warm water and allow it to infuse like that, and stir it periodically, and you want to let it infuse for at least an hour. With my first salve, I let it infuse for 6 hours on the heat, and then I covered it, left it overnight, and then came back to it and strained it out. But this was a lot quicker. I did this within like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it was beautiful for the scent. Oh my goodness. So once that is completely infused, what you want to do next is use a cheesecloth, and you want to strain out the oil, and you'll get a lot of excess, so you want to just squeeze it out. And again, use that opportunity to imbue your magic into it as you're squeezing in that energy, and, you know, thinking about the experiences that you're going to have. That's a really, really lovely way to make your magic go further for you, and really like supercharge your magic as well. Like, it's not just putting herbs in a jar, it's not just putting herbs in oil and calling it done. It is really highly personalized and highly potent, you know, and I can tell you that it does work when you follow these kind of steps and you actually put your energy into it. And, you know, obviously make sure you ground and center before, because you don't want to just be drawing all that energy from yourself. That kind of goes without saying, but I'd like to do a video on grounding and centering. But definitely finding ways to ground and center and whatever works for you, to make sure that you're drawing up that energy first before you use your energy and send it out. Again, that's energy work, which if I talked about in this video, it would be so long. So for another time. So once you have strained out all of your oil, you have a beautiful scented liquid oil. I mean, it may not be clear if you've used something like olive oil, which also actually, if you are doing a love, balm or salve, that is beautiful, because olive oil is definitely a fantastic correspondence for that kind of love. I mean, especially something that's like an organic, beautiful oil that you've picked up that, you know, is a really, really high quality oil. I always like to make sure that whatever I'm using on my body is organic anyway, and especially because this salve particularly, I am using it in intimate areas. You want to make sure that it is clean, and for use, you know, what I do is make sure it's culinary grade and organic, so that it's safe for my body and my skin, and that's what I'm happy with. So in terms of the volumes, I actually used only 15 grams of herbs and 125 grams of the coconut oil. So it really wasn't a lot, and as you can see, it made these 3 pots here. So not a lot at all. So if you want to make a bigger batch, then you can double or triple the quantities. So 15 grams of herbs, that worked perfectly, and obviously I split that up as evenly as possible between the herbs and measured them out so that they would be roughly the right weight. You know, it may have been, you know, 16 or 17 grams or so, but yeah, essentially roughly 15 grams to 125 grams of the oil. What I wanted to do was to make one without essential oils. So that is this one. So you can see it's labelled Astral Love Magick Salve, and it's got no essential oils in it. So this is literally just the pure plant extract. I have not dipped into this one yet. So I used a beautiful rose petal on top, and it smells really beautiful. You can get the sort of natural essence of the herbs, and obviously that coconut oil comes through as well, which is just a really, really beautiful scent. And as I said before, coconut oil is a safe oil to use next to your intimate areas, so that's one of the reasons why I chose coconut oil in this case. So that's really, really beautiful. Just the plant matter, really potent, highly magical, and if you prefer not to use essential oils, this is the way to go. And it still has that beautiful scent, it's just not overpowering. So this is about 50 mils in here of this Astral Love Magick Salve without the essential oils. So this is about 50 grams solid. So when I was pouring it out, I had about 75 mils of the liquid oil left over. So I decided to add essential oils to that. And of course, again, you need to be really, really careful and safe when you're using essential oils. It's really important to dilute all essential oils and do not use them neat on your skin. That is so, so important. They can be really, really toxic and very dangerous. They can burn your skin and they can be fatal to some. So you do not want to mess around with it. You need to do your research. If you're going to use essential oils and you've never used them before. To 75 mils, I added 12 drops of essential oils, and that's the maximum I would add. And if you wanted to add less, you could. With my Mullein oil, I only added a couple of drops to quite a large volume of oil, and I found that the scent wasn't strong enough. So I actually went back and added like another drop into each and stirred it around with a little stick, because it wasn't very solid, as you might know if you've seen that video, and it smelled much better, and I prefer it that way because I like the scent of the essential oils. So 12 drops of essential oils, and I literally didn't list exactly how many drops of each, but the essential oils I did use were organic rose essential oil. You could substitute this for violet if you preferred, or for tuberose if you wanted to, or you could substitute it for rose gardenia. The oil is slightly cheaper, it has more of a lemony fragrance, it's a slightly different type of rose, and I think that there are different ways of extracting it as well. So it's whatever your budget is, but I would really, really highly recommend that they are organic essential oils. And if you want rose, just get rose. This is what I believe if you wanted to use rose. Then I used vanilla essential oil, which I love for sex, pleasure, joy, beauty, romance. It's just yummy. It's like it evokes that, you know, whatever feeling you have when you're eating vanilla. And I always put vanilla in everything. Like, obviously not essential oils. When I'm cooking, I use vanilla extract, the real stuff. I do not use essential oils in food. I would never ever do that. I know that there are a couple of brands that do say that you can do that, but I would never ever do that. Then I also use jasmine essential oil, which I absolutely love. If you wanted to, you could use something like hibiscus, because there's also hibiscus in the actual salve as well. Hibiscus is really, really beautiful for self-love and a real unconditional love from within, and I feel like jasmine does that too. And also I feel like there's a very kind of gentle sort of friendship kind of love that comes from jasmine. So these are sort of how I would differentiate slightly between them. But also jasmine, I feel like it's very intimate. I feel like it's very self-seductive in a way. So of course, depending on your intention, it's absolutely up to you which herbs you choose, as long as they are skin safe for you and, you know, they fulfill your desires and intentions, etc. And obviously that you imbue them with the magic. I also then included mugwort for that flying astral component. I feel like mugwort is really, really strong for that, and I absolutely love using it in my practice. I smoke with it a lot, and I also use clary sage because that is something that again also has those beautiful properties for divination, astral travel and flying, etc. So it's a really, 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 really beautiful sort of intoxicating scent that sort of takes you up and away, and it's, yeah, it's just beautiful for that. Other herbs that you might wish to use for the flying astral component are blue lotus flower, chamomile, wormwood, vervain, which again, vervain has associations with love as well as astral travel and flying, lemon balm, and yarrow as well. And a lot of these have properties for lucid dream work and sleeping as well as astral travel. So I think it's better though to like maybe pick just a couple. Like I've picked mugwort and sage because I feel like those work really strong for me. I think that it's down to what you find works for you. Wormwood as well, I think slightly sometimes just numbs everything too much. So I prefer mugwort, which they are part of the same family, the Artemisia vulgaris family. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could go depending on what herbs you want to use and what works for you and what intentions you have and how they correspond with herbs. So once I've added the essential oils, which you want to do when obviously the oil has been removed from the heat and strained out, and then you can add your essential oils as I explained. So with that 75 mils of essential oil filled salve oil, I filled up these. This one is untouched. So I put a little rose in the tops of each and of course labelled them so I knew which ones were which. And this is the one that I've been working with quite a lot. As you can see, it's nearly empty now. One thing about the coconut oil is that it does solidify and then sometimes it can melt if it's warm, and also it can be sort of clumpy. So one thing you might wish to do is add some vitamin E oil to reduce some of that clumpiness and allow it to sort of spread more evenly across the skin. But I actually do use coconut oil on my skin all the time anyway because I love it as a moisturiser. So I am kind of used to it, so I didn't feel the need to do that. But I did add vitamin E oil to my other salve, which I made with sweet almond oil and beeswax. The Finish salve balm has been beautiful. I have definitely used it, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I have had some very potent experiences and very vivid kind of experiences on the astral and with lucid dreaming since I started using it. I would like to do a video on sex magic at some point and be able to discuss it in a way that allows me to monetize the video. I'm not sure if anyone knows how to do that. Let me know if you do. Essentially, that is something I can talk about in another video. But it's been a really, really lovely process. I absolutely love making oils, and I have for years, and now I love making salves as well. It's such a beautiful process. It's really meditative and calming and soothing, and it's like a spell on yourself at the same time as you're creating this beautiful spell in a product that you then get to use and enjoy. And also it's free, other than the essential oils that you've bought and the herbs, etc. So it is such a fulfilling and gratifying process, and if you've never made an oil or a salve, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. If you are really, really new to all of this and you're a little bit overwhelmed by the idea of making a salve and using beeswax, just try making an oil, and all you need is a couple of herbs that you want to use, some sweet almond oil, some jojoba oil. Decide what you want it to be for. Maybe you want to make like a body oil for self-love for the body. Pick your herbs and create an oil that way. Just pick a couple of herbs, 3 herbs, and maybe if you don't want to use essential oils as well, just leave it at that. And you could do a slow infusion where you just literally add the herbs into the oil, put it in a cool, dark place, and allow it to infuse itself within a period of like 6 weeks. And you can just turn the bottle every couple of days to make sure everything's moving around, and also while you do that you can add your intention back into it, and it's a really, really beautiful way. So for a long, long time I did slow infusions, and it's only with the salves that I've really been doing fast infusions, and it's really, really lovely to sort of stand over a stove, you know, heating oils. It feels very witchy and it's very magical, very potent, very beautiful process. I'd highly, highly recommend. And with the herbs that I strained out of the oil, I decanted them back into the jar, and I have been using them in my baths, and so far they have been absolutely preserved in the coconut oil that has surrounded them. If you have any questions for me at all about this or any other aspects of my practice or spells and practices I've referred to, please do leave them in the comments below. I'll try and answer them as soon as possible. I also want to say to anyone whose channel I've watched for a long time and who knows me and who we've connected, I still watch your channel, and I might not comment all the time, but that's because when I watch a lot of videos I am usually cleaning or pottering or cooking, doing things around the house, and so I don't really get many chances to comment on people's videos these days. But I just want to let you know that I haven't just disappeared and abandoned the channels that I was watching. I still really, really enjoy everyone, and you know, if you want to see some of the channels that I really, really love, especially for witchcraft, I've included some of those people in the VR I did to Ravenflower with the tag RF 2022, and talked about some of the people. I missed out a few people who I love, which I was like, oh, I forgot to mention this person, and that made me sad. But hopefully they know that I love their channel anyway, you know, and some of them probably don't even know who I am, so because there are lots of people that I watch, or there are some people that you become friends with, and that's so special, and like their videos mean so much, and you watch every single one and comment on them as much as you can. It's a lovely kind of connection to have, and I think, you know, I really, really feel very grateful to be part of the community, this pagan, witchy tarot community here on YouTube and on social media. And I know it overlaps, Instagram to YouTube overlaps, and tarot to witchcraft overlaps, and witchcraft to the occult overlaps, and it's just really, really beautiful. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate you being here, because I wouldn't be able to do this without you. I just want to thank you very much, and if there's anything that I can do do, any questions I can answer, then please do let me know below. If you did enjoy the video, please like it, share it with anyone who you think would also enjoy it. I would like to share with you, I do have a Patreon page that I have literally just launched, and I am so excited to share it with you. At the moment I'm offering one tier to support me to continue to make free content here, where I'm sharing educational information as well as personal witchy vlogs, etc. What I'm doing in my own practice, I share a lot of spells and rituals and recipes of my own, and to do that I'm so grateful to receive any support at all to help me to continue to do that. So over there you can see there's one tier, and I plan to expand and to add further tiers, and I'm not entirely sure how I will structure it yet, but I plan to offer some tarot and oracle readings. I also plan to offer exclusive spells, rituals and recipes over on that platform as well, and to share some exclusive videos with recommendations and more practices, etc. It's going to be a really nurturing, nourishing space where we can have a safe community, and I love sharing things for free and I'm not going to stop, but I feel like this way I'm going to be able to create more content that I feel that maybe I can't create so much of here already, where it's on YouTube. You know, if it's on Patreon it's a little bit safer and there's that community sense there. So, you know, I'm not going to stop creating content here, but if you do want to go and support me there, it would mean absolutely the world to me. I have an Instagram page, a TikTok and a buy me a coffee page if you would like to show your appreciation and buy me a coffee. That would be so lovely. I'm also planning to start offering tarot readings soon, and I haven't made that announcement public yet because I want to work out some things with how I'm going to be delivering those, etc. But if you are interested, then do send me an email. My email is in the about page or down below in the description box, or send me a DM on Instagram. That's the best way to get in touch with me, either of those two. I will put you down on the list and come back to you and discuss with you what exactly you are looking for. Eventually I will be building my website and creating much more of a kind of streamlined process, but for now I've decided just to start operating through PayPal and offering these out on my Instagram and on YouTube until I get my website set up, because I've been so excited to start reading for several years now, and I started studying tarot when I was 17, and you know, it's something that I've got increasingly passionate about, and obviously my witchcraft practice started when I was young, so I felt for a couple of years now that I would like to start offering readings, but it's just been my inertia around setting up a business and such, and so that's held me back a little bit, but it's something that I just cannot wait to do. So if you would like a reading from me, then please do send me a message or DM me and I will get back to you soon. So if you made it to the end of the video, then do leave me a little crescent moon emoji. I love seeing those, and then I know how many people have engaged until the end of the video. It's just a lovely thing. Also, if you have been watching my channel and enjoying it and you're not yet subscribed, please do think about subscribing, and while you're subscribing, don't forget to hit that little bell notification, because that's how YouTube is going to let you know when I create and upload videos just like this. Tarot, witchcraft, magic, spirituality, occult topics. So with all that said, thank you again so much for joining me. I hope you stay well and safe, look after yourselves, and many blessings. Mwah. Bye.